I understand it, and as you have mentioned, that this Dulaney Barnes Sewage Project, for lack of a correct name, was not something that you commissioners wanted to do. It was mandated by the Ohio EPA. It also is not something that the village wanted to be involved with. I think as the majority of us residents in the Barnes subdivision, we would probably agree that it's needed, and that we would say, yes, we need it. I think there's a lot of these hidden fees and things that we didn't understand.
You know, we understand that our area is mandated by the EPA. We know that there's a problem. We know that, you know, one way or the other, we've been hearing it for years, that this project was going to happen regardless, okay? I think every one of us, we're not fighting that project. We're not saying we don't want it. A lot of us have already began the process of getting all that stuff going to get hooked in. We do think it's a good thing for the future. The problem is all the fees on top of it. You know, why should a homeowner be responsible to cover the project of something? I mean, like EPA paid 75% or whatever your percentage was that they paid. In my opinion, the commissioners should have fought against them and said, you know what, we can't do this to our homeowners, our hardworking, you know, citizens of this county, to make them pay for this extra, you know, extra money to pay this 20-year lien off. And essentially that's what you're doing to us. We want to know, you know, why EPA is paying for this percentage, but all of us are having to pay for this. What is actually coming out of the county to help pay for this?
I spent a day with Holly in Columbus fighting for the debt relief. So, and I stressed numerous times of the stress that it does to our residents because they have put findings against us. So I did stand up for you and fight for the debt relief because that debt relief wasn't a guaranteed thing. So not to say that we have never stood up and fought and said, EPA, this is too much on our residents. Those words have been said numerous times, and I went to Columbus with Holly to fight for that and represent you and say that.
First, I maintain the county commissioners had no authority to burden the property owners with a loan that we had no voice in. I'd also feel the commissioners had no authority to enter into an agreement with the town of West Union to maintain the sewer system and collect the payments on this loan.
You know, you touched on a thing, building a plant down in that facility. The cost to you folks, if that would have been the direction the county would have needed to go to comply with these EPAs, would have been tremendously higher. That was the reason that going with the village was the most cost-effective way to accomplish the goals to help you citizens in that subdivision.
Half of us have taken off work to be here. We're losing money to be here. We've lost money to go to these meetings. We've lost money being late for work because we couldn't get out of our driveways, or damage to our mowers. I mean, we have a lot of money out of our pocket on top of all this. It's not just the $14,000. It's not just the $900. It's a whole group of money that I don't think three guys up there quite understand. That there's a lot of people in fixed incomes, you know. And if one of you guys were in that subdivision, would you have all voted the same? You know, would you have all voted to have that extra cost where you guys have that on your shoulders to pay every month?
I'd like to speak to that because 6 months ago, I went down to the creek because there was a state truck sitting on 137 and asked them what were they doing, and it was EPA. So I am in this situation. This will occur. This is the only subdivision there's findings in, but there will be more in the future. Now, as far as running tax levies every time we have findings, I don't see us taxing. I mean, how are we going to, you know, you mentioned 10 areas, so we're going to have 10 different 1 mil tax levies on. I mean, every time we have a project like this. But
doesn't Ohio Revised Code state that in a process like this, you guys are supposed to form some sort of a sewer district committee?
If we get into business of sewer, the county has elected because we can touch, you know, best situation for me, if it's cost effective, because they say they can push sewage 5 miles, Cherry Fork's going to Winchester, if their plant will take it. I mean, to build a plant every few miles in our county, I mean, the project would be through the roof. Again, I said that earlier.
No, I get that.
I mean, the cost of, and not only running it, that's the cost of the West Union Village. You know, they're doing it every day. They know that it's not cost effective. You know, it's not a moneymaker. It's a cost. And to build, if we would get in the sewer business as a county, you know, we would have plants all over the place and the cost would be extremely expensive that way.
This don't cut it. I think the only way we can get anywhere is just have to proceed on. And if we have to get attorneys to go after whomever or name you all, we will do it.
We understand that, but this is the office that you represent. Mr. Grooms kept saying, it's not me. No, but this is the office that you chose to run for and represent. And how are you going to help us?
Okay. We offered, if you'll remember, now listen to me.
You offered a $900 loan over 20 years.
I offered you $25 a month, interest-free, until the $900.
That's not my problem. If all I had to pay was $900 tap fee, I would give it to you, and I'd pay for this gentleman's, and I'd pay for that gentleman's. That's not the problem. It's the $13,000 loan that we have to pay for 20 years. And I'm sorry, but Ms. Johnson stood at a council meeting and said there were grants that went by that they missed. Did you not say that at a meeting?
No.
Don't sit there and shake your head, no, because you did.
There was,
The
You
$900.
stood at a meeting and said, because I asked the
there was
question.
one EPA grant that we did miss.
Because somebody said, were there deadlines and grants that you missed? And
There
you
was
said,
one
yes,
that
there
was
were.
missed. Yes, there was.
Okay, so because you missed it, we suffered. And
No, I
you're,
didn't-
that's
I
your
didn't-
job.
No, I didn't
But
miss
it's
it.
your job.
But I didn't miss that. The
You
deadline
did.
was out.
Okay. Bring it to order.
Please, please.
And to be perfectly honest, and I believe what happened was the deadline was missed, but then the next go-round, the next year, we got the money. You got the 75% grant. So what it was, instead of getting it in 2010, came back around and we made the deadline for the grants, and we got it in 2011.
Through this whole thing, the village is responsible for we're going to charge people $23 a month to process their sewage. The $900 tap fee, which I didn't get to finish, we offered that in $25 monthly installments, 0 interest, till you reach the $900. It's gone. It goes away then. So we're in it for the tap fee. We're in it for a monthly rate to provide a service perpetually. That's where we sit. That's where we stand. That's all we're going to be responsible for.
Well, could I, Mr. Mayor, have you taken that option away from us? Is that what you're saying?
No, that option's there. We offered that.
Okay.
A lot of you guys
Well,
got up and
I
left.
thought I understood you say that
But-
option was gone.
No, that option's still there. $900 is what the tap fee is. You can pay that $25 a month, interest-free. We'll keep records of it, and we'll give you receipts for it. And when you reach that $900, goodbye, $23 a month.
I can tell you, I know there's several people in here that's contacted lawyers, and I'm sure somebody would be glad to take this as a class action lawsuit. So if that's the case, I mean, you basically are railroading us into not being able to pay a bill and putting a lien on our house and not be able to get rid of it and get the money out of it. So we'll take whatever route we have to, but if there's not any willing to try to work with us and help us out or look into any other ways of making this work, then we're going to have to go a different route because we absolutely can't do it.
I think one of the goals of limiting this was bring in a section of our county who had findings against it under compliance to help the residents of that area. That was the goal behind it, not to put anybody in a financial predicament. It was to bring us under
But it
compliance
is.
and help
I mean,
them.
If a
But
state,
if you go down there and let's say the EPA comes in, they're looking at them individually, and they tell you today your system is non-compliant, mound system is the only way to go. What's that going to cost you? Minimum cost of mound system. $15,000 per mound system. Then 5 years from now, what are you going to do if it's not compliance? Because we know that our systems vary all the time.
Okay, so I'll put a mountain system in, and I'm paying that anyway, and I'll
But
just
you
pay
walk
somebody
away from the
periodically.
system. You're paying $15,000 versus $13,000,
Would-
and you walk away and don't have to.
Okay,
you don't
but if
have
I
to
have
maintain it.
if I have a mound system and I pay $15,000 for a mound system septic system, and I don't have to pay a monthly bill, how am I not benefiting from that?
Is a mound system guaranteed?
No.
There's no
You
septic
got-
guarantee. That's
No.
sewage.
Sewer is. It's going to be out of your subdivision and away from your home.
And the village is going to take responsibility to keep the flow going.